The Evangelical Lutheran Church in America has a relationship with the Evangelical Lutheran Church in Jordan and the Holy Land, a Palestinian Christian church. Congregations are in Jerusalem, the West Bank, and one in Jordan. Many of them are refugees of the Israeli occupation. We also have worked through the Lutheran World Federation, Augusta Victoria Hospital on the Mount of Olives. Children receiving dialysis have to go through checkpoints. The hospital has to go through many things to try to get permits, which are not always honored, just trying to provide for the medical care and for the lives of these children. There's also a vocational training center in Jerusalem, Bet Hanina, and now it's had to move to Ramallah because the wall has kept people away from their access to that school there. The ELCA has a strategy for dealing with the Israeli-Palestinian situation. The church-wide assembly said, this is urgent. We wish it could become more urgent in the whole church. The ELCA said, however, that we need to get our leaders there. So our Council of Bishops has never done anything outside of the U.S. The Council of Bishops held their Bishops' Academy, their continuing education in Jerusalem and in the West Bank, so that they could see firsthand what is going on there. Just this last summer, the Lutheran World Federation elected as its president a Palestinian, Bishop Muni Bunan, the Lutheran Bishop of Jerusalem. Again, a statement of solidarity with Palestinians and with Palestinian Christians. And it's important that that statement isn't only Palestinian Christians, but with Palestinians. We in Southeast Michigan have a close relationship because we are a companion synod of the Lutheran Church in Palestine. And so we've had over 80 people from our congregations go, not only to visit the church, but to see what is happening under the occupation. This has included adults, clergy, high school groups, campus ministry groups, and congregational members. And we want to learn the story of Palestinians and tell that story when we return, to stand in solidarity with people and with the church and all who are working for a just peace and to work for advocacy. 3 times we've hosted high school students from Palestine, and we know that there's so much that we can learn from them. We've had 3 members of our synod participate in the ecumenical accompaniment program in Palestine and Israel, serving as peacemakers, primarily in the West Bank. In fact, about 5 hours from now, one of them will depart for Jerusalem to work there. Pat Okanicki served there for 3 months doing that work, and she is here this morning. And we have another person who probably will go in March. We send 8 to 10 people to work on advocacy to Capitol Hill every year. Even more people making phone calls, responding to email alerts that come from Churches for Middle East Peace, the Palestine Office, ADC, and many other groups, Jewish Voices for Peace. We have people that monitor what is going on from what they hear from the Christians, from people in refugee camps, like Dr. Anadi from the Shufat refugee camp. We have people who gather monthly to update one another on what it is that we know. We have schools in the West Bank that are Lutheran schools, though the majority of the students are Muslim. And the interfaith life, it's heartening and strengthens my faith when I see the work that they are doing. Some key points for advocacy that we see are, halting all settlement expansion, return to final status negotiations, end the illegal Israeli occupation of the Palestinian territory, open the monitored Gaza borders to aid in transit with the security for all people, denounce violence against civilians by all parties, to ensure movement and access for Palestinians by addressing issues including checkpoints, home demolitions, the route of the barrier, the permit regime, family reunification restrictions. Support Jerusalem as a shared city, challenging activity that undermines this prospect, including restrictions on access to the holy sites in the city, restrictions on entry to Jerusalem, home evictions and home demolitions. To highlight the presence of the Christian community and the challenges that it faces. Not that the Christians have any special place in the heart of God, but it's a way that we can provide access to an understanding in the Christian community. And to recognize that U.S. engagement is critical to peace in this situation. Bishop Yunnan had an editorial just a day or so ago in the Washington Post, and he raises the question, is religion the problem in the Middle East conflict, or can it be the solution? And he says that many people have opted that it is the former, observing so often the negative side religion is about what is being covered in the news. And look at where the cameras go, going to this guy in Florida who wanted to burn the Quran. He says the problem really isn't religion, but it is extremists that fan these things. He says that we need to combat extremism in all of our faiths, and we need to do that, about our own faith too, as many did with this guy down in Florida. Our silence is a part of the problem. Our fear is a part of the problem, and we need to have courage to claim space that is a part of the faith communities. Well, in all of this, I remember sharing with Serene. We met Serene when she was 14 in Ramallah. Gave us a tour of her school. When we asked her to tell us about the situation, she said, "I can't understand why the world is so silent." And her teacher said, "They can't hear you." And she says, "We can't understand why the world is so silent." Well, 2 years later, Serene came to our home, and we had a little campfire, and we were making s'mores. She had never had those, and that was a lot of fun. And I was describing her the work that we are attempting to do. And she said to me, after hearing this, affirming that work, she said to me, and I was upbraided lovingly and appropriately by this 16-year-old girl. She says, "That's all we hear are words, 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 and nothing changes." And then she says, "I have no hope. There are no signs of hope." And what could I say? And there was nothing I could say. And then she said, "My only hope is in God." Serena's a Muslim. She spoke to my faith. She encouraged my faith. And while she was upbraiding me about my words, she deepened my conviction about the work that we need to do.